What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, I almost never find myself saying this, but I'm more excited for the Bellator main event this weekend than I am the UFC main event. Yeah. Vadim Nemkov is a fighter that I personally believe should be in the top 5 of all the light heavyweights in the world, regardless of promotion. The guy can really fight. He's fought some UFC veterans and just made them look normal. Defeated Ryan Bader in fantastic fashion. This guy's the real deal. One of Fedor Emelianenko's fighters, one of his proteges. Really an excellent fighter. He's going to be taking on Julius Anglickas, and correct me if I'm wrong on the pronunciation of his name there. A kickboxer from Lithuania who's a pretty sizable underdog here. Yeah. Do you think Nemkov's going to go out and handle business as usual?
Well, you nailed the hard part. Anglickas. Julian, I think, is Julius, but either way, there's no way to find out if that's right or not. So I think Nemkov, you're so right about him. He's next level. I mean, for Bellator, you're talking about maybe besides AJ McKee as of right now and Patrice Pitbull, maybe the highest level fighter that they have on their roster. Those three guys can for sure compete in the UFC and would likely do really well against the top 5 of their respective divisions. Yeah. Nemkov is bodied up. He's in great shape. He moves really well, and he's got some crazy power. When you throw somebody in that we don't really know a whole lot about, it's hard to predict and figure out how the fight's going to go. When you tell me he's a kickboxer, that makes me realize that likely we're going to see some standing up early on, and he'd probably prefer to keep it there. But Nemkov is one of those guys that his ground game is scary, and his stand-up striking is really scary. So I'm going to have to go with Nemkov on this one. This is the predictions early in the video, I know that, but I just don't know a ton about his opponent, and I think it is a late replacement, but Nemkov is just operating on a different frequency right now. I think he's going to keep running that record up. I think it's something ridiculous around the 22-0 or 21-1, or it's something ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know his exact record, and I know he's been a martial artist his whole life and competed in many different disciplines. So I'm sure if you added everything up there, it would be quite the outstanding record.
It's a lot of wins to a very few losses. Yeah.
And even Anglickas has only got one loss to his record, 10-1, I believe. So very good fighter as well. And like you, I have no reason or need to bury the lead. I am picking Nemkov to win this fight as well. And listen, if you were to put Nemkov up against Jan Blachowicz or Glover Teixeira, the winner of that fight, I'm not saying I'd pick Nemkov, but I'm not saying I wouldn't pick him either. I'm not saying he wouldn't have a chance. This guy has all of the skills that are required to be successful inside of a mixed martial arts cage. He has the body, as you said. He comes forward, excellent pressure, excellent grappling. His striking has come on and become very crisp. He's a threat everywhere, including the clinch position, against the cage, on the ground, on the feet. The guy's the real deal. I think he's going to get this fight done by finish. I think he's going to probably win in the 2nd or 3rd round. Yeah. I'm going to say ground and pound victory for Nemkov. And I think his star is just going to continue to rise. Yeah. He's a relatively young guy. I think that we may very well see him in the UFC at some point. Yeah. Scott Coker is very good about realizing who his big stars are and pulling out the checkbook for them. So I can't blame the guys like AJ McKee and Nemkov for staying there. Even Patricio Pitbull, who's made an entire career out of being Bellator's #1 go-to guy. But I tell you what, I would love to see Nemkov one day mix it up with the best in the UFC, because at the end of the day, if you haven't competed and beaten the best in the UFC, it's hard to go down as one of the GOATs. That's what Nemkov's mentor, Fedor Emelianenko, kind of is up against. As great as he was, he's not on the tip of everybody's tongue for the best heavyweights of all time, simply because he never mixed it up in the biggest organization. And so I think Nemkov could run into the same thing, but that's getting way ahead of myself. Yeah. I'm picking second round ground and pound victory, business as usual for Vadim Nemkov.
Yeah, he's an absolute stud, and I think he's young for that division. As a whole, not just in Bellator, but there's a lot of older gentlemen that find their form late into their 30s at light heavyweight and heavyweight, and he's just young, so he's going to utilize his athleticism. He's going to utilize that strength, that speed, the agility, all of that sort of stuff. I don't see him really getting his belt taken away anytime soon. I kind of had some high hopes for Yoel Romero before he made his Bellator debut. I have some high hopes for potentially how Rumble Johnson's going to come back after his last fight. But I just don't see either of those guys presenting enough problem. I'd love to see
Anderson.
That might be the toughest match. But I think that if he can start racking up wins against all those guys who are big names, he's going to start to make some waves. And the UFC just might be willing to match Scott Coker or, maybe raise him a little bit. And if Scott Coker's got to do what he's got to do, keep the business moving, operating positively, and keep his fighters happy. But at the end of the day, us fight fans are a little bit selfish. We want to see the best fight the best. And I truly do think Nemkov is one of the greatest light heavyweights that we have on any roster right now, probably a top 5 just across the board. So I'd like to see him get paired up with some of those guys that are currently in the UFC. Who knows if it'll happen, but he can't look further. He can't look past Anglickas this weekend, because this is going to be a great fight.
Yeah, if you look past a really good kickboxer, sometimes you wake up on the canvas. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know in this sport, and that's what makes it so great. Also on the card is Corey Anderson and Ryan Bader, so that'll be an interesting one to watch as we start to think about who Nemkov might fight next if he beats Anglickas.
Yeah, it might be some fight fan matchmaking taking place. Like, oh man, I'd love to see this. If a good call out on the microphone happens afterwards, then we might see opponents lined up just on the night of business.
For sure. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Let us know in the comments, do you think Vadim Nemkov is going to continue his dominance in the Bellator light heavyweight division? And how do you think he'd mix it up with the UFC's top guys? Let us know. We always enjoy chatting with you guys in the comments. And if you haven't already, a subscribe to the Barnhill Brothers channel is always much appreciated. Like the video and check us out on audio where you listen to podcasts. Until the next one, have a great day.
Peace.